This is a Masonic lodge, and I'm gonna go inside to see what I can learn about LDS temples.
Some argue that Joseph Smith copied the Latter-day Saint temple endowments from Masonic rituals, as he introduced them soon after becoming a Freemason. However, Latter-day Saints believe both come from a shared ancient origin. I need to get to the bottom of this. As a Latter-day Saint, I'm familiar with the temple, but I don't know much about the Freemasons, so I'm just gonna go to my local Masonic lodge and walk in. But honestly, I had no idea what I should wear or what to expect.
All right, I think this is something that's friendly enough for basically any occasion, so let's roll with it.
Can you just walk into a Masonic lodge? Do you need a recommend or some kind of membership card? I guess we'll find out.
I just got done in the Masonic temple and I met 4 Mason masters that were great and willing to talk to me and answer all of my questions. But I wasn't allowed to record anything because, secrets.
But here is what I learned. A master is someone who has completed the highest degree. For Masons, there are 3 degrees, and you get initiated into each one through rituals. But that's not even the craziest part. What they told me blew my mind as a Latter-day Saint about temples. But I'll come back to this later. First, I need to do some digging. None of the Freemason masters knew much about Latter-day Saints. I need to find someone who is both a Latter-day Saint and a Freemason. Hayden is exactly what we need. He is a Latter-day Saint and a Freemason. You may recognize him from his contributions to the channel Thoughtful Faith, but is it even possible? Can you be a Freemason and a Latter-day Saint?
Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are not prohibited from becoming Masons.
You can. The church allows it. And according to the Mason masters that I talked to, you just need to be a man and believe in a monotheistic God. And Hayden is a man, at least as far as I can tell. And Latter-day Saints are monotheistic, right? In any case, Hayden, how's it going? So, what degree are you as a Freemason?
I received the 3rd degree in Blue Lodge Masonry, which is essentially the highest degree in the base organization in the larger umbrella of Freemason institutions.
How similar are Masonic rituals to LDS temple ordinances?
To be frank, the content of the rituals is very different. The presentation of the temple endowment essentially teaches the plan of salvation, the creation, Christ's atonement, Adam and Eve, covenants, prophets. It teaches patrons to seek God, to receive and appreciate revelation. The Masonic rituals, on the other hand, focus on the story or lore of a man named Hiram Abiff, who participated in the building of Solomon's temple. They teach this story and basically teach good moral principles on how one might live their life in a more productive way. To be fair, there is one major similarity that I've noticed in both of them, and that's the method of teaching. Each is a play or a drama, which acts similar to a parable, allowing those who are ready to receive further light and knowledge, while also not condemning those who are not prepared to understand their greater truths.
Do you think Joseph Smith plagiarized Masonic rituals when he invented the endowment?
It's essentially a baseless claim parroted by people who just don't know any better. No one has ever claimed that there are no similarities at all, but to say that they are so similar to the point of proving Joseph a fraud or a con man just holds no water. In my own personal experience, people fear what they don't know or know about. On this same point, both those struggling in their faith and critics who throw mud in this realm should do some research regarding how long Joseph had been teaching about a future temple endowment. You might be surprised to find out that within 6 months of the church being restored, Joseph begins receiving revelations of the Lord, promising future and greater blessings and endowments of power in his temple. Go read D&C 36 and 38, which were given in 1830 and 31, over a decade before the temple endowment was first administered. Now, did Joseph receive some ideas from Freemasonry on how to teach divinely revealed principles and truths of salvation to the saints? Absolutely. And it was very effective and still is to this day.
Hayden, what impact has Freemasonry had on your faith?
Freemasonry has absolutely enhanced my faith in Jesus Christ, his restored gospel, and his living church. Not only has it allowed me to see and understand firsthand the faultiness of the criticisms of Joseph Smith on this topic, but it has helped me to better appreciate the truths that I've been taught since I was a young kid. It's helped me to see and understand greater symbolism and the messages of the gospel, scriptures, and the temple. It has highlighted divine principles and helped me to see that anyone who lives those principles will reap the benefits that are sowed. While again, I don't believe Freemasonry was a necessary path for me, it definitely has become a great building block in my faith and practice as a Latter-day Saint.
But we still haven't fully addressed the timing of it all. Was it just coincidence that Joseph Smith introduced the endowment after becoming a Freemason? I need to learn from a real historian. Well, Don Bradley is an excellent historian, and he is going to change the way we understand LDS scripture. Don Bradley was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ until he left to become an atheist, in part due to issues with church history. But he came back to the church and rejoined. But one of the things that bothered Don was the connection between the endowment and the Freemasons. Was Joseph just a plagiarizer?
The Nauvoo Temple endowment, where does that originate, right? So I had thought that it doesn't originate until 1842 when Joseph Smith becomes a Freemason, that this is his first glimpse of what is going to be the endowment. I had thought that once he becomes a Freemason in 1842, that's when he has the idea of this endowment structure that he then gives.
But then Don discovered several key endowment principles from Joseph Smith's works that predated his connection with the Freemasons. For example, in the Book of Ether from the Book of Mormon, the brother of Jared has a temple endowment experience.
The brother of Jared is having this dialogue with the Lord through the veil. The Lord puts his hand through the veil. There's this testing that happens. He's admitted into the Lord's presence, redeemed from the fall of Adam and Eve. He's given these white stones that reflect the idea of a new name, and his own name is being withheld from us. And these interpreters that he's being given are in the shape of compass and square. That just has all sorts of mind-blowing resonances for Latter-day Saints, right, with regard to the temple. The brother of Jared is given a revelation of things that are so sacred that he can't share them with other people.
Don is like a real-life Indiana Jones, except he's uncovering artifacts from books and papers. So he's not really like Indiana Jones at all, but still cool.
On the top plate of the golden plates is where the interpreters were placed, but on that plate there were also engravings, and he said the engravings included the implements of Freemasonry. So if you think about what are the main symbols of Freemasonry, these are well known. It's the compass and the square. Later in Nauvoo, he's not just coming up with this stuff out of nowhere or just because he's encountered Freemasonry in 42. These elements have been in the Book of Mormon in 1829, the Brother of Jared story, the Book of Mormon in 1828, the story of the Nephites finding the interpreters, the first vision right at the beginning of the 1820s. Over 20 years before he becomes a Freemason and institutes the endowment, Joseph already has the structure of much of what happens in the endowment. It's there in these accounts.
So this is a really solid refutation of the idea that Joseph Smith just lifted the temple ritual from Freemasonry.
Right. So not only is Nauvoo ritual there from the beginning, Nauvoo doctrine is there literally from day one of the restoration of the sacred grove. So the idea that he's just totally developing, creating everything on the fly later, opportunistically, that doesn't fit with the evidence that we find.
Learning from Latter-day Saints like Don Bradley and Hayden Carroll has been very enlightening. But I need to take you back to my experience cold walking into a Masonic lodge, because I still haven't revealed the best part, the part that blew my mind. I had so much fun talking to them, I really started considering becoming a Freemason myself, until I realized it's not actually free. Maybe they should call it yearly fee Masons. When I was with the Master Masons, they talked about the bond they have as brothers because they share secrets. It brings them closer together. It builds trust. I realized the same thing applies to the temple. Not only does the temple bring you closer to God, but as church members, we all have a special bond, a trust and unity. The Masons teach principles through symbolism. So do the Latter-day Saints. The neat thing about the church that Joseph Smith restored is that he wasn't inventing something new. Instead, he was compiling truth. I found some truth in the Masonic Lodge. And I'm glad those same truths exist in the church, in the temple. The temple is not only a place for families to be sealed together forever, it's a place for brothers, sisters, and friends to bond over shared deeper meanings. Music is another great way to feel bond and unity within the church, but there's one thing that could ruin it. Click on the next video to find out more.